Today, we're going to be looking at NBA injuries that ruined careers. Let's dive in. This first star had the world rooting for him. It's Greg Oden. This Ohio State center was picked by the Trailblazers before Kevin Durant. Can you even imagine the amount of talent this man had to be picked like that? But we will never know what Oden might have done in the NBA, which is a shame for him, the Blazers, and basketball fans everywhere. In the national championship game that season, Oden and the Buckeyes lost to the Florida Gators, despite Oden's 25 points and 12 rebounds. Everyone knew Oden was destined for greatness, but unfortunately, the public never got to see the anticipation around his debut season. Oden's whole rookie season was wiped out when he had microfracture surgery on his right knee. And then, after that, a foot injury 13 minutes into the current season forced him to postpone his following season.
Oh, his knee is... Holy cow, Portland doesn't need this.
Although appearing in 61 games that season, his foot and knee problems never fully healed. Another season of his brief career was lost due to a knee injury. Oden often attempted to come back from injury while playing, but his body would not cooperate, and so he finally decided to hang up his boots. Next up is a man who had the potential to be one of the best forwards ever. It's LaFonso Ellis. While LaFonso Ellis may not be the most well-known NBA player, he had a promising first year. Many NBA experts predicted that he would emerge as a top-tier power forward, but unfortunately it just wasn't meant to be. Fate had other plans for him, and they were cruel. It all started when he missed much of his third season due to a stress fracture in his right knee. Ellis had obviously lost some ground during his comeback effort, but that wasn't even the end of it for the basketball player. In fact, the trouble had just started. Hernia surgery and another knee ailment later in his career slowed Ellis down to the point that he chose to quit in 2003. Wow, can you imagine how heartbroken the man must have been? He was well on his way to the top. Injuries that started out as hurdles turned out to be his worst enemies. Up next is a man you probably might know as an analyst. It's Jay Williams. So yeah, before Jay was a super successful analyst, he was one of the best players in the game. Well, at Duke, he made quite a name for himself, and then later, he was also known as the player who managed to save the Chicago Bulls from some serious chaos. But hold up, before you get your hopes up, things didn't turn out quite so well for him afterward. The very first season that he played in the NBA was also his very last one. Over the offseason, Jay was riding his Yamaha R6 motorbike when he collided with a streetlight. His career was cut short by a series of injuries. He broke his pelvis, sprained his right knee, and injured a nerve in his leg. Jay was lucky that the Bulls still compensated him despite his breach of contract when he rode a motorbike. After Jay was released, the Bulls picked Kirk Hinrich to take his position. It's impossible to say whether or not Jay would have become a major player in the league. And so, what if scenarios are all we have at this point? He tried to make a return twice, but it was unsuccessful with the New Jersey Nets and the Miami Heat. Next up is another one with wasted potential. It's Brandon Roy.
Well, if the crowd was getting nappy, that should have woke.
Roy was on track to become a star in the NBA and a key figure among the shooting guards who would continue Kobe's legacy. Despite knee issues sustained in college, Roy won the Rookie of the Year award in 2006-2007. He went on to have a successful career when he underwent arthroscopic surgery on both knees in the 2010-2011 season. Roy had made 3 straight All-Star games and 2 straight All-NBA teams. He had to miss a large chunk of this season as a result. Due to deteriorating knee issues, Roy had to retire after just 6 seasons. He has apparently finished his career and retired during what would have been his peak years of productivity. George Muresan, the player who showed the most progress in the year's 1995-1996 season, George Muresan's NBA career was derailed by a string of back, ankle, and nerve problems. He hung it up after only 6 years in the league, and it truly devastated tons of his fans sitting at home. Later, he played briefly with a French professional squad, but was dogged by health problems. Muresan is monstrously tall, measuring in at 7 feet 7 inches, and so, whenever he wasn't nursing an injury, he was a force to be reckoned with on the court. Unfortunately, his talents were never fully appreciated by by the public. And how could they? His injuries always plagued his potential, so he could never really properly show the world what he had in store for them. Up next is a tale of broken MCLs and broken dreams. Let's look at the story of Gilbert Arenas.
He can get there, can he? Gilbert Arenas on the attack. 7-4 Washington early.
Now, this is a controversial one. Hate Gilbert Arenas all you want, but there's no denying that when he was fit and not carrying firearms to practice, Arenas was an offensive force and his opponents knew it.
And here's Arenas. They went backdoor. Little baseline pop. And Gilbert Arenas is on fire.
Having spent his formative years in the Warriors organization, Arenas signed with the Wizards in 2004. He was on the cusp of becoming a star in the league from that year until 2007, when he averaged almost 28 points per game and 6 assists per game. That too, while helping lead Washington to the playoffs. But then, he tore his MCL at the end of the 2007 season and never played a complete season again. And that was it. Imagine the heartbreak the man must have gone through, knowing that you came so close to being one of the best in the game and then having it snatched away from you. Truly devastating. Without his injury, the Wizards may have been championship contenders, and Arenas could be considered one of the top scorers in his position, but it looks like we'll never know what magic he could have unleashed. Then there was a knee injury that ruined this player's career. Yep, I'm talking about Penny Hardaway.
Look at the concentration in Askin's eyes. Hardaway with a jumper. Well, it doesn't matter.
Penny was drafted 3rd overall by the NBA's Orlando Magic in 1993. He quickly became Shaquille O'Neal's teammate, and the two were amazing together. In his first 5 seasons as a pro, the 6'7" floor general was named to 4 All-Star squads. While he was on the same squad as Shaquille O'Neal, he helped lead the team to the NBA Finals in his 2nd year. But bad times were only starting for the poor soul. Hardaway's season ended early in 1997-1998 when he suffered a career-ending injury to his left knee. They only allowed him to play in 19 games that season, and that was just the beginning of the end for him. His career was never the same following his phenomenal 1999-2000 season, during which he helped his team beat the reigning champions. Had he been given a chance to play more, I think he could have done a lot more to show what he was capable of. And those, y'all, were some NBA players who had their careers ruined all because of injuries. Who do you think had it the worst?